Alan Alda's portrayal of Hawkeye Pierce on MASH remains one of television's most enduring performances, but while the series radiated camaraderie and humor on screen, tensions behind the scenes occasionally bubbled to the surface. One of the most notable and often discussed strained relationships Alda experienced during his time on the show was with co-star Wayne Rogers, who played trapper John McIntyre during the first 3 seasons. Rogers and Alda began the show on seemingly equal footing as the co-leads of MASH. However, as Alda's character became increasingly central to the show's storylines, tensions reportedly developed. Alda later described Rogers in his autobiography as arrogant and condescending. He suggested that Rogers seemed to carry a chip on his shoulder and often made working together more difficult than it needed to be. Alda hinted that Rogers may have felt slighted or jealous of his expanding role and visibility, which some sources say caused him to act out or challenge creative decisions on set. While Wayne Rogers never publicly confirmed the extent of the rift, other members of the cast backed up the idea that Rogers could be difficult to work with. Loretta Swit, who played Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan, and Mike Farrell, who later replaced Rogers as Hawkeye's new sidekick B.J. Honeycutt, have spoken in interviews about Rogers' tendency toward insecurity and his frequent clashes with production over control of his character. The friction became so untenable that by the end of the 3rd season, Rogers abruptly left the show. Officially, he cited creative differences as his reason for departure, but behind the scenes, many believe the ongoing conflict with Alda played a major role. Rogers' exit opened the door for Alda to further cement his leadership role on MASH, both as a performer and as a creative force. Over the years, Alda took on more responsibilities, writing and directing multiple episodes, which contributed to the series' lasting critical acclaim. Some insiders believe that without Rogers in the mix, the set environment improved significantly, making collaboration more fluid among the remaining cast. That said, Rogers wasn't the only cast member Alda reportedly had issues with. Gary Berghoff, who played the beloved Radar O'Reilly, also had a complicated relationship with Alda and other members of the team. Berghoff left the series during its 7th season, officially due to personal reasons and the desire to spend more time with his family. However, several sources have indicated that interpersonal conflicts, including those involving Alda, factored into his decision to walk away. Despite Radar's popularity, Berghoff was known to be temperamental on set, and his exit didn't come as a surprise to those behind the scenes. McLean Stevenson, the original Colonel Blake, is another figure whose departure was tinged with tension. Though he didn't appear to have a direct feud with Alda, Stevenson reportedly felt increasingly sidelined as Alda's influence on the show grew. His dissatisfaction with his role and lack of creative input contributed to his departure after season 3, coinciding notably with Rogers' exit. Despite these backstage dramas, MASH continued to flourish, even gaining critical and commercial momentum after those early departures. Alan Alda's growing control over the show's tone and direction helped transform it into something deeper and more emotionally resonant than a typical sitcom. Still, it's clear that the early years of the series were marked by growing pains and power struggles, particularly between Alda and Wayne Rogers. Their personal differences shaped not just their dynamic, but the future direction of one of television's most iconic series.